I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and after opening weekend it looks like Jurassic World Dominion is dominating at the box office. How long it will hold that position, who can say? But it seems that Jurassic World / Jurassic Park / the Jurassic Saga remains the top dinosaur franchise in the entertainment industry. And I've noticed some people here and there both noting and, in some cases, lamenting that fact. I've seen people asking, why is it that Jurassic Park is the only big dinosaur franchise we've got coming out of Hollywood? Used to be there were dinosaur movies all over the place. Now it seems like there's just Jurassic Park, and then there's a bunch of direct-to-video schlock from all these different places like the Asylum and whatnot, where there are dinosaurs in them, but they're not nearly as big and not likely to get many sequels. So why is it that Jurassic Park took the top slot? A lot of people have been asking this, and, well, I thought I'd provide an answer of sorts, to the best of my ability. Now, the obvious answer to this is that Jurassic Park is big because it's good. At least the first movie was unparalleled as far as most people are concerned. Most people say that this movie is as close to perfect as a movie can get. Not without its flaws, but those flaws are so minuscule that they're easy to overlook, if you even bother looking at them at all. Everything else that works about the movie works so incredibly well that it's no surprise it became so big. And it's the fact that people have so much respect for that first movie that Hollywood continues to make it and continues putting out sequel after sequel, even though none of those sequels have come even close to equaling the original. Now, that's the easy answer, and yes, the first Jurassic Park movie is very good. And even all of the sequels, regardless of what I may think of their quality, each one apparently has its fans, even if those fans aren't necessarily enough to always keep that movie afloat. But, you know, that is not the entire answer. The fact that the sequels can be viewed in such different ways is proof enough of the old saying that quality is subjective. So, what else is there? Yes, we can say that the first Jurassic Park movie is so good that you could argue that it is objectively a good film, because so many people consider it to be that. But that can't be all of it, right? Why is Jurassic Park considered so incredibly good that it's wiped out all the competition, except for the stuff that just goes straight to DVD or straight to streaming or whatever? Well, another potential answer could be marketing. People will look at it and say, well, the reason Jurassic Park has stuck around for so long is because Universal markets the ever-loving heck out of it. There are always some products out there reminiscent of Jurassic Park. Whether it's a new line of toys, whether it's some nostalgic t-shirts, whether it's a video game, whatever it is, there's always some way that Jurassic Park has remained in the public consciousness, and it's usually stuff that you gotta buy, hence why it's considered marketing. Now again, I do think that is a significant factor. After all, the studios are in this to make money. The filmmakers, they want to actually make a good piece of art, but the studio wants to make a good piece of art that will break in the big bucks. Ergo, marketing is part of it, but I don't think it's the whole answer either, because, let's be honest, marketing can only go so far. You see, all the marketing in the world cannot convince people to consume something that they don't want. Case in point, you remember Tron Legacy? Yeah, I don't blame you. Nobody remembers it. But back when it was first released, Disney was marketing it like crazy. Tron Legacy was everywhere. I kid you not. There was the movie, of course. There was the soundtrack. There was an animated series. There were comic books. There was a video game. There was clothing and accessories and a line of toys of various kinds. There were Marvel Comics variant covers that featured popular Marvel superheroes in Tron-style costumes, not because the content of those books had anything to do with Tron, but because that was just another way to put Tron in people's minds. Tron Legacy was the thing that Disney was really pushing. Disney really wanted to convince the world that Tron Legacy was its new favorite franchise. And all of that effort put into marketing Tron Legacy and making sure that it was spread out as far as it possibly could go resulted in Disney buying Lucasfilm so they could make Star Wars movies instead and just swept Tron Legacy under the rug like it never happened. You see what I mean? It turned out nobody actually wanted a Tron sequel, though anyone who had been paying attention to the fact that Tron didn't get a sequel back in the 80s would have known that. So there you have it. That is my evidence, and I'm sure there's plenty more I can think of, but that's just the most extreme evidence I can think of as to how marketing cannot be the answer. It is part of the answer. We are adding more to the equation that will somehow get the result we need, but there's still a variable in there, so what is it? Having thought about it for a spell, I think the missing part of our equation is that Jurassic Park, when it first came out, was revolutionary because it incorporated CGI. It wasn't all CGI, of course. There were a lot of practical dinosaur effects in there, but they were blended so perfectly with the CGI, which looked really good back then and, quite honestly, still looks really good today. So that was something that had never been seen before. It wasn't the first movie to use CGI to make things in the environment, but like you look at the stuff that came beforehand, it was mostly stuff that was minuscule or something where you could kind of get away with having it not look quite real, like say the stained glass knight that appears in Young Sherlock Holmes. That was one of the first fully digital creatures, if you will, to appear in a movie. But because it's stained glass, you don't have to worry about making it look photoreal. You can have that bit of a sheen to it and a bit of a cartooniness to it because it's glass. But with the dinosaurs, they had to go for texture. They had to make it look indistinguishable from the life-size animatronics. And all the effort was put in and it paid off. And it resulted in something that no one had ever seen before then. These days, CGI is everywhere. Marvel movies are like 90% computer generated to the point where even the backgrounds of the most mundane settings are green screen. But back then, it was something new. It was something unusual. It was something that was seen as the way of the future. And that stuck in people's minds. Now again, that's not the whole equation, but I do think that's the missing piece. It was that combination of being revolutionary, being marketed in the extreme, and being of very high quality that resulted in Jurassic Park becoming the dinosaur franchise. Because no other dinosaur franchise that's come since has managed to pull that off. I mean, granted, most of them just aim for like the lowest common denominator of schlocky cheesiness. Again, I'm talking about like the direct-to-video kind of dinosaur movies. But there were also those ones that aimed for being higher quality, got into theaters, and tried to, if not knock Jurassic Park off its throne, at least try to take a seat alongside it. Yet for some reason, none of them took the way Jurassic Park did. And While I think those particular reasons I came up with are significant factors, there is one last thing to consider. Jurassic Park remains the major dinosaur franchise in Hollywood because people support Jurassic Park. I mean, Universal could release a Jurassic Park t-shirt every couple of years, but if nobody buys it, what's the point? It's the fact that people keep buying those t-shirts and keep buying the collectibles and keep doing all that stuff that supports the franchise that allows it to be a franchise, and no other dinosaur series has gotten that kind of support. So ultimately, I guess that is the major factor. Jurassic Park certainly earned its place in the public eye, but it's kept that place because the public has continued supporting it. According to the marketing for Jurassic World Dominion, the Jurassic series is over, at least for now. Now, granted, I do know that there are people talking about the potential for making another Jurassic World movie, or maybe rebranding it as something other than Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, whatever that title may be. But for now, we're looking at the prospect of Dominion being the finale, which means there will be a gap opened. And into that space, any dinosaur series does have the potential to slip in, whether it's Prehistoric Planet or Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal or something completely new. I mean, all Marvel would have to do is announce a live-action Devil Dinosaur series, or DC could announce The War That Time Forgot, and that would have the potential to sneak in there because they've already got built-in audiences who are fans of Marvel and DC. But there could also be any number of other things. But none of those things are going to take off if they don't get the kind of support that Jurassic Park got. So if you want to see something other than Jurassic Park come out of Hollywood, next time it comes along, support it. If it's worth supporting, of course. If it's something you just don't like, you need to feel no obligation, of course. But that's the way it's usually done. Jurassic Park is the mine that's still full of gold, and it's foolish to not keep going back to that mine. You go back to it until it's exhausted, and at that point you close it up and leave it for whatever sort of creatures want to dwell in there. So if you think something else is worthy of either sitting alongside or even surpassing Jurassic Park, support it. If you have the means to do so, of course. But then again, who knows? Maybe the only thing that will get something to surpass Jurassic Park would be for something to come along that is just as revolutionary. But how that would be done, I don't know. I mean, let's face it, the CGI stuff that happened with Jurassic Park way back in the day, that's become old hat. I think back to that line from the first Jurassic World where they say no one is impressed by dinosaurs anymore. A part of me thinks that line is another meta line that's kind of on the money, but they're not talking about dinosaurs per se, they're talking about CGI. CGI was something new and crazy and impressive way back when. Like I said, nowadays everything is CGI, it seems, and people are used to it. No one is thrilled by CGI anymore, which is why more people are looking for quality in the work as opposed to just being dazzled by the visuals. What could be more revolutionary than that, however? I honestly don't know. The only thing that comes to mind would be a dinosaur movie that would surpass Jurassic Park by showing real dinosaurs. Like, not scientifically accurate dinosaurs, but actual flesh and blood dinosaurs filmed in real life. I mean, who knows how that would even be pulled off? Then again, it's possible that I just can't even conceive of what sort of special effects might be waiting down the line. Back in 1925, when The Lost World came out, I don't think anyone would have ever thought that something like CGI could exist. So the future might hold some surprises for us. How that will be applied to dinosaurs, if it is, who can say? Until then, though, that's the best I can come up with for why Jurassic Park remains the top franchise. And if you think there's some other dinosaur franchise that deserves that sort of attention, it has to be supported if it's going to work. And that's all I can really say about that. Anyway, just thought I'd put this out there for people to consider. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off.
Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.